Hello and welcome to Little Things with Amber L.B. Swenson. And happy Mother's Day to all the mamas out there and the grandmas and to anyone who fills in for moms or even participates in any way, shape, or form in all that it takes to bring up children. You are all very much appreciated. In all honesty, I used to dread Mother's Day for so many reasons. I mostly just wanted a nap. And I would say every year, all I want for Mother's Day is for you guys to behave. And about 3 hours in, when everybody was fighting, I was like, okay, give me diamonds. It's okay. I'll take diamonds if we can't have the other. Now, of course, my children are older and I just relish time with them so much. So I look forward to if they're going to set aside a little bit of time to spend with me on any day, whether it's Mother's Day, a week before, a week after, any time of the year is just a phenomenal thing that I look forward to. So totally different situation now. Today, I'm calling our episode, Just Walk with God. Hey, it's Amber, wife, mother, type A child of God. Here at Little Things, we look at everyday issues from a biblical perspective with one simple goal, to know and love God more. Thanks for listening. I'm going to let you off the hook a little bit. I am using a Bible passage, 2 verses actually, from Proverbs 31. And if you're anything like me, I used to really not love Proverbs 31 because I always felt so inferior. I just felt like it was a long list of things that I couldn't live up to. And so I thought, well, this is great for that woman who has it all together, but Amber L.B. Swenson is not that woman. So thanks anyway. Now that I've had some time, I don't feel that way at all about it. First of all, I don't believe God put Proverbs 31 in the Bible to make moms feel bad. I don't feel that at all. In fact, I think just the opposite now. I just think as a woman raising kids, especially when my kids were younger, I was defeated so much of the time, and it felt like a long to-do list and one that I couldn't live up to, but I look at it very differently now. So I want to give you some context on this before we get started, because we're just looking at 2 verses, but I do want to mention the whole of the Proverbs 31 woman. So first of all, we're told that these are the sayings of Lemuel, and we don't know who that is, but the earliest translation puts these 22 verses 5 chapters earlier under further sayings of the wise. So we don't know who wrote them. It could have been Solomon, could have been Lemuel, who was maybe, perhaps a pen name for Solomon. We don't know. That's the bottom line. We don't know. But the People's Bibles mention this section focuses on ideal womanhood. And again, man, God gives us ideals so that we have something to aim for. But he certainly doesn't give them to us to put us down or make us feel like we are just so much less. And why aren't you this kind of woman? That's not it at all. And in fact, I think that if we look at it, if you change your perspective just a little bit, which is what I'm always challenging myself and you to do, maybe we can see this as God sort of letting us off the hook, because the things that the world tells us that we need to be and do as moms, you won't find that in this list. It does not say a good mother has children who are academically genius. It does not say a good mother is taking her kids to every sports practice 3 states away. It doesn't say a good mother has an immaculate house. A good mother keeps her decorations up the certain amount of time and has a different, decor for every season. That is not in here. It doesn't even say that a good mom makes her own butter. Like, you can't find that. It says a lot about a lot of different things, but not the things that the world puts up on a pedestal for what motherhood should be. So what does the Proverbs 31 woman look like? She is of great value. That should be a comfort right now. A wife of noble character is of great value to her husband. She is of great value to her children. You may not feel like that right now, not today, but you are. And you're of great value to God. Her husband has full confidence in her. How does a husband get full confidence in his wife? He knows that he can count on her. He knows that she's got his back. He knows that she will build him up and not put him down. He knows that they are in this together. That's how he has full confidence in her. She brings him good, not harm. In other words, this is a woman who can laugh with him when things are falling apart and be like, well, I mean, it is what it is. God still has us in the palm of his hand. It's okay. Doesn't blame him for everything that goes wrong. Is walking alongside her husband saying, we're in this together. Like, if this isn't working out well, that's okay. We can get through this. It's okay. She works with eager hands. She brings food from afar. I was writing that down and I thought, Costco, Sam's Club, every grocery store. She brings food from afar. She goes to the farmer's market. Doesn't say she grows all her own food. Doesn't say she makes all her food. She brings food from afar. She makes sure her family is fed. She buys a field, plants a vineyard. She trades. She's industrious. She finds opportunities. Sometimes she works here. Sometimes she works there. Sometimes she does this. She's bringing something into the household. And sometimes I just have to say, I was a stay-at-home mom for years, and I think that was of great worth and of great value, not just to my husband, but to my children. And now that my husband is one of the older guys at work, he tells a lot of the younger guys, like, no, it's totally cool to let your wife stay home and raise the kids. That is a huge blessing to you, knowing your kids are super well taken care of. It's a blessing to the kids. They have the stability. Not saying that's the only way. That's not what this proverb says. I'm just saying, when you look at it and you feel like, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. No, you are not just a stay-at-home mom. You are raising children. That is phenomenal. If that's your role, God bless you. You're doing a great thing. And if you're out working and you have found somebody great to take care of your children, that is a great thing too. There's no judgment. She works vigorously. She is not worried when it snows or when trouble comes, because she knows where her help is. Her help is in the Lord. Her husband is respected. She's clothed with strength and dignity. She speaks with wisdom, watches over her house, and isn't idle. Those are beautiful qualities. That is what God is looking for, a heart that's invested in rearing children to know him, to walk with him. So the verses are Proverbs 31:30-31 that we're going to look at. It say, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. Charm. What is charm that is so deceptive, misleading? Well, charm is the power or quality of giving delight or arousing admiration. People can be charmed. People can be charmed by a person who is fake. A lot of people come and go, and they make it seem like they're all this, or they make it look good for a time. But that is not what God is looking for in a godly woman. And he's not looking for someone who's the perfect size. Women, let yourself off the hook right now. Beauty is fleeting. So I don't care how much weight you lost last year. I don't care how your workout plan is going this year. All it takes is one event, one pulled muscle, one sickness when you're down and out for 3 weeks. And you can get off track and all of a sudden everything is totally different. You can have a situation where your child is sick, where your parents require more work. All of a sudden, that routine that kept you all the weight off, kept you cooking good, healthy meals, all that can be out the window in a second. That's why that's not something that God worries about. Charm, that can be misleading. That can be deceptive. Beauty, wonderful. But you know what? It's easy come, easy go. A woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. What does it mean to fear the Lord? Well, it means to stand in awe, to submit oneself to the Lord, to worship him, to praise and obey him. That is what God is looking for. That is the quality that husbands should be looking for, that men should be looking for when they're looking for a spouse. And that is what brings honor and glory to a family, is if a woman walks with the Lord and helps her children to do the same. Okay, so a woman who fears the Lord, what exactly does that entail so that we can start doing this? Okay, no matter what point of parenting you're at, no matter if you are the grandma, and however poorly you messed this up in the past, doesn't matter. Today is day one. What can you do? Pray, 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 and pray some more. I feel like I could write a book on all the prayers that we could say for our children, not just on fighting spiritual battles, but God giving them the qualities that they will need to fight the spiritual battles. So for instance, Lord, help my children to be honest men and women who walk in truth, because Satan is the father of lies. And in order to battle Satan, they need to know the truth so they can discern. It's just one thing. God, give them the courage to stand alone. When the whole world tells them to go this way, let them stand on the rock of their faith. God, give them a heart of gratitude. We can choose every day to grumble or to be grateful. Give my children a heart of gratitude and joy despite their circumstances. So many things. So often we get caught up in all the physical things. We pray for every physical thing. God, help them to get better. Lord, help them make the team. God, help their team to do well. God, be with them when they're taking their tests. All fine. God is a merciful God. He is a God who loves to answer prayers. But oh my word, if we are not praying the prayers that our children need so that they're equipped spiritually, we are missing the boat. I want my children to be with me in heaven. I want them to walk with the Lord. So you better believe my prayers are filled with, God, help them to have godly mentors. Put a godly mentor in their life. Help them to find Christian friends. Lord, let them love your word. Help them to find a good, solid church. All those things. And then, of course, we need to be praying for our spouses too, because that's part of this, is that, her husband has full confidence in her. And she is, her husband's honor. Her husband is respected at the city gates. So we need to be praying for our relationships with our husbands. Now, it's really important to remember on a day like Mother's Day that Moses was put in a basket on the Nile River and God took care of him. Like, if you're feeling down and out today, like, okay, I've already messed so much up, and I know even the whole prayer thing, Amber, I'm just trying to get through the day. God took care of Moses. We think that it's all dependent on us. How about Joseph? At 17, he was sold and taken to another land, and God took care of him. Samuel was left in Eli's presence. So, we do our best. We do what we can. But let me tell you, let yourself off the hook, because it's not about you being a perfect mother. God is the one who's the perfect parent. So just let that go. Whatever guilt you're feeling, whatever failure you're feeling, nope. Not today, Satan, because I walk with God and he's the victor, and I'm putting my children in his hands. So not today. What else can you do? Raise your children to know the Lord. Man, this is not just taking them to church, but that in and of itself is very important. And I cannot tell you enough. It doesn't matter what their age. If you've got littles and you are struggling through church, hang on, sister. It is okay. It is worth it. Try to find one thing that you're taking out of church every single Sunday. Find one thing, find one reason that it was worth it to get up and go. It might be the person that you talked to after church who said that they would pray for you. As your children get older, I have older children now. And it becomes a much more difficult conversation because especially in the day and age of technology, they can find sermons that are exciting online and they can find the best worship music. And then going to a church that just has an organ, does not seem all that exciting. It's not about church being exciting. It's about finding a place to worship God. It's about receiving the Lord's Supper. It's about finding a community to do life with. That is something that a sermon online cannot offer you. They cannot offer you the people who lock arms with you, who pray with you, who say, how can I help you when the storms of life come? Doesn't matter if you don't need them when times are good. We know good times don't last. We will all be in a struggle at some point, and that's when your church family is so huge. It's so important to be in a church community, make church a priority. But that is not the end of the story for parents. It's about doing devotions here. It's about raising our children to know the Lord. It's about teaching them to be in the Bible. My Bible most days is open on the table. I leave my Bible, I leave my notebook, I leave my prayer journal there. My children can see that I am in the Word today. I was in the Word yesterday. We do family devotions. Steve's schedule is not always conducive to us doing devotions together, but we try to, on occasion, get our devotions together too. Your encouragement to your children should always be godly advice. So when they don't get the job, it's okay, honey, because I am praying for you. And if God didn't want you to have that job, then He has something else in store for you. When they're bullied on the bus, okay, just let's remember this also as a child of God. When the whole world seems to be falling apart, when everybody is fighting about which direction the country should go, or when people are grumbling about taxes at tax season, we can open up our Bible and say, you know what? Here's the deal. God is still on the throne, so I'm not going to worry about it that much. I'm really going to feel I do have a part in this democracy, but beyond that, I'm content. Whoever God puts in charge of us, it's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. And He's always given me the money to pay the taxes. So there again, if they're misusing my money, they will have to answer to God for that. So that all the things that we go through, we're bringing God into the situation and God into the equation so that it is not as if, oh, God is some far off being. Like, teach your children to walk with Jesus, to know God, to have a relationship with Him. Let those words always be on your lips. Encourage your children to have Christian friends, to be in a Bible study. So important. I heard recently, I was with my daughter. We went to a Christian conference and we heard somebody say that 50 years from now, probably very few people, if any, will know your name. And that has put everything into perspective for me because it is so true. I was on a Zoom meeting earlier today and I mentioned this and I said to the woman that I was meeting with, how many of the presidents can you name? And, she was talking about recent ones. And I'm like, okay, let's forget about that. How about 1875 to 1940? How many of those presidents do you know by name? None. So these are the people who led our country 100 and 150, 140 to 100 years ago. We don't even know them, and they were the leaders. What makes any of us think that anybody's going to know our name 50 years from now? This puts it all into perspective for me. You know what my role is while I'm here? My role is to bring my children up to know the Lord, to bring as many people as it is humanly possible to know the Lord and love God. So that means I need to be active in my community, active in my church, active with my friends. That's where it's at. Anything else, all this other nonsense, is anybody going to remember what I wear? Absolutely not. Is anybody going to remember my hairstyle? Absolutely not. Is anybody going to remember if I was wearing makeup or not? Absolutely not. None of that matters. 50 years from now, the name Amber Elby Swenson will mean nothing. So let's focus on what matters, on raising kids to be leaders in God's kingdom, to know God, to love God, to tell other people about God. That's it. That framed everything for me. Our job is to walk with God and teach our children to do the same. And if you have done that, my friend, then you are succeeding at parenting. Then you are a wonderful, godly mother. And not only will your husband be so thankful, but God, you have earned God's admiration. And that's what it's all about. This has been Little Things, because in God's kingdom, the little things are the big things.